everyone, good day. My name is Joshua Areha Ham, a student from Philippine Normal University, Visayas. Let me be your tour guide today, and together let us explore different historical sites and landmarks of Negros Occidental. General Juan Araneta Historical Landmark in Bago City. This shrine is built in honor of the late General Juan Araneta, who fought for Negros Occidental independence on November 5, 1898. It is called as Negros Revolution that happened during the Spanish colonial rule of the island. Victor Fernandez Gaston Heritage House in Silay City. The Balay Negrense or Hiligaynon for Negrense House, also known as Victor Fernandez Gaston Ancestral House, is a museum in Silay City, Negros Occidental in the Philippines, showcasing the lifestyle of a late 19th century Negrense sugar baron. It is notable for being the first museum to be established in the province of Negros Occidental. Jose Benedicto Gamboa Heritage House in Silay City. Popularly known as the house used in filming some parts of the 1980s movie Oro Plata Mata, the Jose B. Gamboa Ancestral House is a two-story structure with a lower floor made of stone and wood at the second floor. Like other heritage houses in Silay, it also has huge windows, spacious living room, high ceiling, and several old furniture. Angel Araneta Ledesma Ancestral House is one of the heritage houses in Silay City, Negros Occidental, Philippines, belonging to Angel Araneta Ledesma and his wife Rizalina Havilona Lopez. Also known as Balay Verde or the Greenhouse, it is strategically located along Plaridel Street near the Silay City Hall, the San Diego Pro Cathedral, Police Department, and the Puericulture Center. Angel Araneta Ledesma Heritage House in Silay City was built in 1933 using the logs that were available in the lumberyard business of Angel Ledesma. The two-story house combines the colonial plantation architecture and the American clapboard style that was popular in the revivalist era of the American period. The next one is the Benita Jara Heritage House that can be found in Silay City. Benita Jara Ancestral House is a museum in Silay. The Ancestral House is situated nearby the Barangay 3 Hall and close to Senator Jose C. Locsin Cultural and Civic Center. Alejandro Amechazura Heritage House in Silay City. Alejandro Amechazura Ancestral House is a heritage house owned by the family of Alejandro Amechazura in Silay City in the province of Negros Occidental, Philippines. Because of its cultural, architectural, and/or historical significance, it is one of the recognized and declared heritage houses of the Philippines by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines or NHCP. Dr. Jose Corteza Locsin Heritage House is a two-story house built in the 1930s in Silay, Negros Occidental, Philippines. It has been named as a Heritage Houses of the Philippines by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines or NHCP. Manuel Severino Heritage House in Silay City. The Hofilinia Ancestral House is the residence of the late Manuel Severino Hofilinia and his family located in 5 de Noviembre Street, Silay City, in the province of Negros Occidental, Philippines. The home was built by Hofilinia for his wife Hilda Ledesma Hojilla, a former Miss Silay, and their 9 children. During World War II, when the family fled to the mountains, the house was used by Japanese commanders who had meetings here. The house was later occupied by the Americans. In 1962, the house was opened to the public. It was the first ancestral house to be opened in the city. The next house to do so was 30 years later. The Hofilinia Ancestral House has a historical marker installed by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines or NHCP on April 6, 1993. In 1989, the BBC TV series Far Eastern Cookery shot some of its scenes in the Hofilinia ancestral house when it featured Ilonggo delicacies. The house was also used as a setting by a Canadian movie company for its documentary on Sugarlandia, which was shown at the Toronto Film Festival in 2011. Felix Tad-E Lacson Heritage House. Location: 135 Rizal Street, Silay City, Negros Occidental. This heritage house was demolished already. The last owner of the house sold its hardwood to a Chinese businessman. Soledad and Maria Montelibano Lacson Heritage House that can be found in Silay City, Negros Occidental. The Soledad and Maria Montelibano Lacson ancestral house with its American-inspired look features windows with glass panes and a galvanized iron sheet media agua, a secondary roof that helps protect windows from rain. The second floor still retains its sliding caprice windows and ventanillas. When coming from Talisay City, this is the first ancestral house that will greet you. The next one is the Capitan Marciano Montelibano Lacson Heritage House. Originally known as the New City Cafe or the Kapihan Sang Silay, is also the ancestral home of Capitan Marciano Montelibano Lacson. Vicente Conlo Montelibano Heritage House that can be found in Silay City, Negros Occidental. This heritage house sports a classic bahay de bato facade, possibly from late Spanish colonial period to the early American period, with grilled first-floor windows and a discreet main entrance. Neoclassic trimmings and brackets under caves give it classic proportion. Note the absence of any ventanillas and sliding windows on the outside, typical of the Visayan type bahay na bato. Maria Ledesma Goles Heritage House, one of the registered heritage houses in Silay City. This house is along the road, which is easy to recognize and locate because of its grandeur. Architectural design is still standing proud. This heritage house is already used as commercial banking place by one of the banking companies of the Philippines. The next one is Jose Ledesma Heritage House that can be found in Silay City. Made in 1917, this house is a head-turner among passers-by and is also one of the most picturesque sites in the city of Silay. This ancestral house is registered with the National Historical Institute as a heritage house. The two-story Teodoro Murada ancestral house, also called the White House, was built in the early 1990s. A fusion of Spanish and American colonial architecture, this beautifully restored heritage house exudes a gentle neoclassical liner. It has a grand double winding staircase on the ground floor, glass-paned windows, and a second set of Persiana windows behind them. Now the home of Rene and Jessica Velis Di Macali in the favorite house in Silay of Liza Macuja. Generoso Reyes Gamboa Heritage House that can be found in Silay City, Negros Occidental. Formerly one of the traditional heritage houses, this site is popularly now known among tourists as a bed and breakfast 1898 casa and restaurante. The Generoso Reyes Gamboa Heritage House is also considered to be the first twin house of the Philippines, built in 1898. Digna Locsin Consing Heritage House that can be found in Silay City, Negros Occidental. The two-story Digna Locsin Consing Ancestral House across the Teodoro Murada Ancestral House is also called the Red House. Now the home of Judge Reynaldo Alan, this heritage house displays American period horizontal clapboard sidings with Art Deco grillwork. The two-story Modesto Ramirez Hugilla Ancestral House, a Beaux-Arts style house currently owned by Carlos Javilosa Landoni Sr., was built in the 1920s. It is an example of an American-era adaptation of the classic Bahay na Bato, which was influenced by the 19th century salt shaker houses with their wooden horizontal clipboard facades. Currently dilapidated, it is notable for its adaptation introduced by the Americans to the Filipinos living on the ground floor. Bernardino Lopez Halandoni Ancestral House. Also simply known as the Bernardino Halandoni House, the museum is known for its conspicuous pink paint, which is eventually dubbed as the Pink House. The house was completed in 1908 and is a popular venue for artistic, cultural, and education events and performances. German Locsin Unson Heritage House. The heritage is located at number 5 Zamora Street in Silay City and has been welcoming local and foreign guests since June 11, 2016. It is also close to the Silay Public Plaza and Parish Church and 15-minute drive away in Bacolod City. Originally built in 1938, this two-story house underwent numerous renovations until it was restored in its original design in mid-1970s. It is also declared as a heritage house by the National Historical Institute in April 6, 1993. Delphine Ledesma Heritage House. Built sometime in the early 1900s, this grand and beautiful century-old home was owned by Mr. and Mrs. Delphine Ledesma. The couple raised their family there. It still features the basic architecture and interiors of the old house that simply draws you into its old world charm. Infante Heritage House, La Carlota City. Built in 1929, the house, which was designated as a heritage site by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, formerly National Historical Institute in 2001, still stands today. Currently, the house is open for public viewing, but visitors are not allowed to enter the house. Located in the middle of a farm and surrounded by a chapel, sugar mill, tenant house, and sheds as described by the International Committee for the Conservation of the Industrial Heritage, the two-story mansion was the home of Don Chudolfo Infante and Doña Roseta Sanchez. Gen Anicito Lacson Historical Landmark, Talisay City. The General Anicito Lacson Ancestral Home was declared a National Historic Landmark by the National Historic Institute in 2002. For Gen Araneta, the NSC crew was welcomed to General Juan Araneta Residence and Landmark Museum in Baguio City. The house was given to the General by a relative shortly after the Revolution. Negros Occidental Provincial Capital, Bacolod City. The Negros Occidental Provincial Capital is the seat of the provincial government of Negros Occidental, located at Gatuslao Strait, Bacolod, Philippines. The provincial capital is also the old residence of family Luzuriaga and donated by Jose Ruiz de Luzuriaga, located in front of the Capitol Lagoon and Park in the city of Bacolod. The architectural structure was designed by architect Juan Arellano in 1927, and it was renovated in the year 2004. Other historical sites and landmarks that can be found in Silay City includes the Carlos Arceo Ledesma Heritage House, Amelia Hilado Flores Heritage House, Agosto Hilado Severino Heritage House, Claudio Hilado Acol Heritage House, Manuel de la Rama Luxin Heritage House, And the last one is German Laxon Gaston Heritage House.